This video contains spoilers for One Piece all the way up to the most recent chapter 1159. If you're not caught up, you should be watching One Piece instead of this anyway. I'm going to lay out the basic information you'll need for this video so we're all on the same page. We'll use the Book of Harley to make this as simple as possible. There are 3 worlds depicted in the Book of Harley, and these 3 worlds correspond to 3 specific times in the One Piece world where a Nika/Joyboy figure existed. The first world is where the sun god Nika existed, the first one to ever wield rubber powers. He is the original warrior of liberation and existed before the Void Century. If we were to go off of Vegapunk's theory, he's the one the people of the world wished and prayed to return, therefore willing the human fruit modeled Nika into existence. The second world is the world of the one we know as Joyboy, and the subject of today's video. He is the first wielder of the actual human fruit model Nika, and in my eyes the first one that was actually called Joyboy, because as far as we know right now, Nika himself was not referred to as Joyboy. The third world's Joyboy, of course, is our wonderful straw hat bearing captain, Monkey D. Luffy, and the time that it depicts is the current day in the story. When I first thought of this theory, my guy Tommy and I were chopping it up at work during a slow day after this chapter dropped when he said something that had the gears in my head turning enough that I couldn't drop the idea. Tommy turned to me and asked me, "What do you think Joyboy's name was?" We've always believed that Joyboy is a title for the reincarnation of Nika, so Joyboy of the Void Century that we see a silhouette of in chapter 1115 is unnamed at this point in the story. We've pondered the answer to this question before, but because of chapter 1159, I think I finally have the answer. As you have probably gathered by now, based on the title and where I'm going with this, I believe that Davy D. Jones could be the Joyboy of the second world. Xebec and later Teach move with purpose, and it seems like they have everything planned out. I think that's because they know the prophecy of Joyboy. The same one I assume is on Laugh Tale that Roger laughed at because he knew he was too soon to be Joyboy. I believe this prophecy has very strict requirements to fulfill, especially pertaining to the time in which Joyboy would be reincarnated. Rox clearly never made it to Laugh Tale, and of course Blackbeard hasn't either, so how would they have access to this prophecy? I believe it's because Joyboy was their ancestor and he left a version of it so they could guide his reincarnate to overthrow Emu. This prophecy was probably written down or documented physically in some way, and I believe it is on God Valley. In chapter 1158, when Garling is proposing to have the human hunt on God Valley, he says he made a preposterous discovery while he was there. He ain't mention he had kids though, that dickhead. This discovery could be the fact that the Davy clan continued on living in God Valley, but it has to be more than that to me. Nika is a god, and I'm suggesting that Davy D. Jones was Joyboy, so if his clan knew that, which they most likely did, they would worship him like most other races did to Nika as well. Garling could have possibly found the prophecy I'm talking about, or some other evidence that God Valley was tied to Joyboy. The Celestial Dragon announcer says, "In this contest, we have another target who's been found at long last. After 800 years, the Davy clan." That lines up perfectly with when the Void Century ended, so at the very least, the Davy clan must have been on the world government's bad side during the Void Century, just like Joyboy. When Xebec is telling Harold about the true nature of his name, he says that the world government covered his name and changed it to Rox when he was first gaining notoriety. But they left the D in his name. That is the most mind-blowing part to me that really makes me think I'm onto something. The Davy name was more important to cover up than the D initial to the world government, which of course is one of their biggest enemies. The world government tries to cover up the will of D whenever they get the chance, as we've seen with Roger's name becoming Gold Roger on his wanted poster, so why leave it on Xebec's? It must be because the Davy clan poses a bigger threat to the world government than the D clan does. No other clan in the One Piece world has been persecuted for that long by the world government. If the Davy clan is Joyboy's kin, the world government would stop at nothing for that fact to never see the light of day. During this talk, Xebec reveals to Harold that he has a wife and kid that he's trying to save on God Valley. We knew this since 1158 that Teach had been born at this point, and I believe once again that this was planned by Xebec. He sees that the end of his life is near, and he wanted to make sure that the Davy clan lived to bring down the world government. We've seen someone's will be inherited in very strange ways in One Piece. Luffy inherited Roger's will even though he isn't related to him. Ace inherited Whitebeard's will even though he was Roger's biological son. We know, of course, Luffy also inherited Joyboy's will and became his reincarnate, when you'd think based on how I'm laying out this theory, it would be Xebec or Teach. When it comes to Joyboy's will specifically, there was a very strict time that was known to be Joyboy's return. When Roger reached Laugh Tale, his whole crew laughed after reading Joyboy's story because they knew it was far too early for Roger to be Joyboy. Oden told Toki to send the Akazaya 9 and Momonosuke 20 years into the future because he knew that's when Joyboy would return. I think the whole reason Roger even had Ace was for him to become Joyboy because that was the only thing he could possibly do to help the future generation. Just like Roger and Oden tried to help Joyboy return, Xebec was trying to do the same thing in the name of Davy Jones. Davy Jones is first mentioned in chapter 306, and Robin says he was a pirate from long ago that was cursed by a demon to live out his life on the sea floor. Him living on the sea floor could mean he was close with the race of fishmen and even sea kings. We know that Joyboy was close with the fishmen of Ryugu Kingdom as well because of his apology to Fishman Island and the Poseidon of his time. He broke a promise to them by, I'm assuming, losing to Emu. It's possible that the legend Robin spoke about on Long Ring Longland was Emu cursing Joyboy to live out his days in the ruins of his great kingdom all the way down at the bottom of the sea. Condemning him like this would be the perfect way to remove him so the 20 kings could thrive and Emu could rise to power, or even possibly stay in power depending on how long they've ruled. Cursing the reincarnation of the sun god to live in a place with no light is a fitting level of cruelty coming from a celestial dragon. We know Joyboy had the voice of all things because he could converse with Emmett, but I believe he could have also been the one to tell the Sea Kings what exact time he would return when he was on the seafloor. When Roger and Oden heard them speak on the way to Fishman Island, they said their sovereign would be born soon, Shirahoshi, and another in a distant sea, Luffy. They say just 10 years until the birth, and Charlie confirms that when they reach the Ryugu Kingdom. After that, they say another 15 to grow. Shirahoshi was 16 when she met Luffy. I believe their accuracy is due to Joyboy's prophecy. If you made it this far into the video, I appreciate you so much. Please let me know what you think of it, what you like, what you dislike in the comments, and since you're there, you know, shoot your boy a like, man, it's free. But seriously, thank you for watching my first long-form theory, and hopefully you tune in for more in the future.